Hello, this is Shit You Never Knew. I'm Corey,
I'm Logan.
and today we're going to tell you some shit you never knew about a weird topic. This episode is brought to you by no one, because we don't have any sponsors, but we are currently drinking Sierra Nevada Torpedo Extra IPA. It's got 7.2% alcohol in it, and I highly recommend it. It's pretty good. It's kind of a little bit of a hipster beer, but not too big of a hipster beer. I mean...
Well, as long as it's not a torpedo, we're good.
All right. Although, why are you drinking a fedora? With a fedora on. Why are you drinking this with a fedora on right now? And a handlebar mustache.
For the aesthetic. It's all for the aesthetic, man.
All right.
All I need is a club cigarette and I'll be good.
Anyway, if Sierra Nevada hears this, send us money. So, what do you know about the story I'm telling you today?
Literally nothing. I think it has something to do with the cult. But...
All right. Well, it's going to get weird. I'm going to tell you that.
I'm excited. Something I'm
should
actually
be.
enthusiastic about.
You hear that? I just snapped my glove.
I'm out of words.
George wins.
Still full of excitement, but out of words.
Damn it. George Hensley was born in Scott County, Virginia on May 2nd, 1881. He was one of 13 children of a farming family that routinely moved between Virginia and Tennessee. They eventually settled in Big Stone Gap, Virginia, a town in the western part of the state close to the Kentucky-Virginia border and in the Appalachian Mountains. Religion was a focal point of people's lives in Appalachian society. It has been ever since the first settlers came in the 18th century. Protestant denominations, especially Baptists and Presbyterians, were very popular. People of the area opposed religious hierarchies and were fiercely independent in their religious views and practices. And from what I've heard, they really fucking hate the hierarchy of dentists. Did you know that?
Of dentists?
Yes, of dentists.
Your clothes are too white, your tools are too shiny. Like...
Many religious traditions from the early 19th century are still practiced in Appalachia today. These include natural water baptism, foot washing, rhythmic chanting while preaching, congregational shouting, and, wait for it, snake handling.
Hail Jesus!
That was the face I was looking for. The Hensleys raised their children as Southern Baptists. His mother and sisters were very religious, and the family lived in an area where many different other congregations would also worship. And in the late 1890s, he went to his sermon in Scott County and saw his first snake handling service. He saw an elderly woman during a revival service at a coal mining camp. She pulled a snake out of a basket and stroked it while preaching.
Because where else would you have a snake? Other than I'm assuming like a wicker basket that can have holes in it. Well, the snake won't get out. It's a nice snake.
How the fuck does that even happen? You just get up one day and you start going outside and like, look, they're talking about God over there. And then you just, oh, well, she has a snake. All right. She's stroking. All right, nothing crazy at all. Let's move
Wrong
on.
TD, walk away.
And he didn't walk away. He was like, oh, look at this. This is cool.
There's a fair in town?
In 1901, George left the Baptist church and married Amanda Winiger. The couple then moved to Amanda's brother's farm in Altewa, Tennessee. I'm sure I mispronounced that. I don't give a shit. I've never even heard of it. There, the couple lived in a shack. He worked in local ore mines, helped with his brother-in-law's lumber business, and made moonshine to make ends meet.
First we had snakes and baskets, now we got moonshine. Where else would this go?
This guy's in some weird shit, isn't he?
Well, because you said they're in Kentucky, right?
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
They're in the Appalachians, yeah.
Well, shit started to connect now. I mean...
God. Anyway. Later, he went to a Pentecostal religious service and experienced a religious awakening, and he later converted to the Pentecostal religion. He then took a vow to forsake alcohol, tobacco, and friendships with people that he deemed worldly. Whatever the fuck that means. Does that mean, like, people who...
You don't stroking snakes, you're worldly.
What the fuck? He's making moonshine, for Christ's sakes.
Right.
Anyway. Despite being illiterate, Hensley became a traveling preacher for the Pentecostal church and went throughout
Despite being illiterate.
I was hoping how long I could get that sentence out without you listening, without you noticing that. Yeah, did I not mention he was fucking illiterate? He was a Pentecostal preacher traveling the Appalachian region, preaching from the Bible that he could not fucking read. He was preaching the word of God to people.
Because of moonshine?
How did he know it was moonshine? He couldn't fucking read. Well, this one's clear. I'll drink it.
I call it lightning. I use it on everything. Doors, windows, me.
Goes in the old tummy tum.
That's how I light my stove.
Okay. His sisters would read him passages. He would memorize them, and then he would perform services around those passages. He also claimed that he would receive divine revelation from God while speaking, which is not at all completely ridiculous. He was initially content with the teachings of the Church of God, but wondered if he was being as righteous as he could be. Maybe he was being a slacker. Fucking slacker. He's supposed to have the snake around him when he's doing all he's doing is speaking in tongues and wailing. You know, he's got to take that extra step.
Well, I mean, would you want a snake around you?
I don't know, would I?
Keep it in the basket.
But I heard the music and I just had to take a peek.
God.
Hensley began a fascination with a certain passage from Mark 16, 17, 18. This is never good. That said, "And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover." But he didn't know it said that because he couldn't fucking read. So he didn't understand the context, what was being said in the passage.
You know, words just spoke to him, dude. He didn't even read them, they just spoke to him.
God. I mean, that's just crazy.
Maybe illiterate, but I can listen.
Yeah, that's the problem. These people read these things and they just take. Anyway.
They can't read. I wish he can.
So they listen to people say. I don't need to know the context of that. That's what it said. That's what Jesus said. Anyway, so, and that's why we don't have global warming legislation. Anyway, Hensley's belief was that the words from the book of Mark should be taken literally, and Hensley's first interaction with a snake during a service came sometime around 1909 in the town of Grasshopper, Tennessee. I don't like the sound of that town.
Grasshopper, Tennessee.
Yeah. What do you think? They have a plague.
When the plague comes, they just call it the annual harvest or festival or whatever. Sacrifice a child to a god of the grasshoppers, quit the plague.
Why is it called Grasshopper, Tennessee? Well, look at the crops. I don't see any crops. Well, there you go.
We're dirt farmers.
Excuse me. He told an interviewer sometime later. Hold on, I'm just gonna grab my beer. About the first time he brought a snake into his church. He said that whilst walking, he saw a snake going up a hill. He then knelt in prayer, grabbed a snake, and took it into the church. Kind of sounds kinky. He then
Saving you for later.
He then instructed the rest of the congregation to prove their salvation by trusting in God and grabbing the snake. And they fucking did it. Because why not? Test your faith.
What I mean, when a pastor has your snake, what else do you do?
I know, just ask the Catholic Church, right? Anyway. Anyway. You're welcome. But, I mean, why not? When you go over and touch an angry wild snake, that seems like a great idea. I'm sure it's very timid. As Hensley continued traveling, he spread the practice throughout the Appalachian region, going to churches in Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Georgia, and North Carolina, bringing the snakes with him. In 1914, Hensley applied to be a licensed Pentecostal minister, but had to have his wife fill out the paperwork because, again, he was fucking illiterate.
See what's funny? Just going back to the snake part, I could think of it being like a rattlesnake and him passing it to his choir and making him like shake to the music. It's like, look, the snakes when you.
You know what? You know what? You should remember that as the story goes on. What you just said.
Oh god.
And that's a good question because I had to look up what kind of snakes these were, and they typically use cottonmouths, or that's the poisonous one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, cottonmouths or rattlesnakes during these services. So, oh honey, you can go over there and touch the rattlesnake. That means he like you when he make that sound.
The only deadly things we got out here other than Barry, we're gonna pick it up.
Here's moonshine.
Hey snake, you want some?
So anyway, him and his wife found that glorious loophole where somebody illiterate can be a fucking preacher. But anyway, this is Southeast Tennessee. Okay, so though they do not practice snake handling today in the late teens and early 20s, snake handling was accepted in Pentecostal churches and was not frowned upon, although they have long since been opposed to this practice. The speaking in tongues and faith healing, that's all still cool. And then the natural water baptism, because you have to... So apparently it's sinful to make your own water in the church, according to them, and they go to like an actual stream and baptize like a whole bunch of people at the same time. You know, kind of spread out.
I want
crazy.
the Indian water,
Yeah.
not that Brita.
What's crazy is these people that still practice this religion, they think the snake handlers are fucking crazy. Like, those guys are nuts for not going to service. I know. I know we pass out and start kicking around on the floor, wailing in tongues, but we're not fucking crazy. Anyway.
We're just going to jump in with the snakes. We're not going to bring them to us. We're just going to go to them.
God. In 1922, Hensley resigned from the Church of God, citing trouble in the home. This may have been due to the fact that he and Amanda had 8 children, yet her husband was rarely home, and when he was often drunk. He also treated his wife terribly. George had a temper and often took it out on his wife when he was home. Later that year, the two separated. He sounds like a fucking winner. I don't think he's going to be single for long.
Right.
Oh my God! Why would you have 8 children? Oh, this is.
You make moonshine, don't do much else.
I guess. I don't know. In 1923, he was arrested on moonshining charges in Tennessee. He was fined $100 and sentenced to 4 months in jail. This was the Prohibition era, and the production of alcohol levied a heavy fine on the offender. In lieu of jail, Hensley was given the option of serving his time in a workhouse. Initially, Hensley was given an assignment with a chain gang, but the guards liked him and sent him to do other jobs instead.
Yeah, because who wouldn't like a wife beater?
Hey, you seem all right. There's a snake over here. Can you come get it? Fuck yeah, I can. After being sent to get water. After being sent to get water out of a well, he fled from his guards and hid in the mountains. He eventually made his way to Ohio, to his sister's farm. After a few years in Ohio, he divorced his first wife. Well, fucking duh, if he didn't take her along with her. I mean, it's kind of, yeah. In 1927, he then met Irene Kunzinger, who was 25 years younger and came from a German family. They moved to Washingtonville, Ohio, and George found work as a coal miner. That year, Irene gave birth to their first child. You know, he's going to do things differently this time. Not going to be repetition of behavior. He learns from his mistakes. He's going to be a good father of this one. She'd eventually have 5 children. Making a total of 13 for George Hensley. Oh, God.
Why stop at 10?
Anyway, the family then moved to Pineville, Kentucky, and established the Pineville Church of God, and George started to worship with snakes again. He characterized this church.
Get away from them snakes.
He picks them up and whispers in their ears, "Wish I could quit you." I just can't.
Hey, little mama.
I just love your little serpent body. I love stroking it.
I beat my wife. I'll never beat you.
He characterized this church in Pineville as a free Pentecostal church. He and his family continued to move frequently, going from Kentucky to Tennessee to Virginia, never staying in one place too long. Services became more and more popular, and soon hundreds of people began attending them. In 1935, in Norton, Virginia, over 500 people attended one of his sermons. Everything was going fine until a small boy killed one of the snakes when it got too close to him. The service was thrown into disarray. Jeez, mister, I don't like how close this thing is getting to me.
This thing ain't safe. This thing ain't safe. No, Billy, just touch it. Just pet it. You'll be fine.
Why did you bring me here, Mom?
It's a fucking snake right there. Y'all picking it up? I ain't doing that.
I just wanted to play with my cup and ball.
See, and just going back to the guards real quick, they're just sitting there like, oh shit, where'd that guy go? Man, we really liked that fella.
He made great moonshine.
Right?
He always wanted to jump in the snake pit.
He gave me relationship tips.
He liked to stroke snakes. God. As he began to travel even more, Hensley decided to build a house on the back of a trailer truck and move everyone to Florida. Because why the fuck not? Was you gonna do something completely fucking crazy? Why not have Florida involved in the mix, right?
They got bigger snakes, dear. Their snakes are bigger.
Their people are crazier. And they got great Cuban food down there, from what I hear.
What would happen if that guy saw a fucking gator? Like, trying to put that around his neck? Like, what?
I'm gonna put my dick in the gator's mouth, see if it snaps. I think God want me to do that.
See, this called trust in the Lord.
Oh my God! And as expected, when he moved to Florida, he moved to Florida, and more people began to attend his services. Everything was looking up.
Because what else do you do in Florida?
It's hot outside. You want to see the man handle the snake?
Hey, look, the fish back in town.
What's he doing? Then in 1936, at a service in Barrow, Georgia, a young agricultural worker was bitten by one of the snakes and became ill. Hensley claimed that he was not quite ready for the demonstration of the power.
You aren't chosen, so of course you got bit. Like, what's wrong with you?
You didn't immediately recover from a rattlesnake bite? Like, God fucking hates you, you know that, right? He predicted that the man would live, but despite his prayers, the man died. Hensley then left the area.
It's because he didn't have Facebook at the time. He couldn't spread it around. If he had everyone's thoughts and prayers.
I brought a snake to a church and it bit somebody. That's not my fault.
That's Percy's family. Go check the GoFundMe.
Oh. Well, this is for the Depression, so I think everyone had a GoFundMe.
Or an oh fuck me.
That's what some women had to do to make ends meet. Our history's great, isn't it? Anyway, Hensley then left the area as quickly as he could for fear of prosecution from the law and fear of retribution from the townspeople. What a hero.
At least the town was upset.
Oh, he died? I sure am sorry. I'm gonna get out of here. Bye.
Want you to know I sent my prayers, so...
That's all I need to do. Goodbye. Hensley then returned to Pineville, Kentucky, before being arrested for handling snakes. He then moved to Knoxville, Tennessee, and then to Evansville, Indiana, where he separated from Irene.
Sir, you're not allowed to handle snakes. No, look, they don't bite me. Like, this dude's just, it's always him and his snakes.
The marriage was not working out so well, mostly because of Hensley's constant drinking, his frequent absences from home, and his mistreatment of his wife. Sound familiar? I can change him. I was gonna change him. He only had 5 with me, so I did a little better.
I changed him a little bit. He beat me less when we got married.
Hensley was mostly estranged from his family. After his second divorce, he rarely saw any of his children. Irene once claimed that George had even told her to give all her children away to an orphanage so that the two of them could go on the road together. Oh my God.
Darling, no kids, just you, me, and the snakes. We can make a hell of this living.
Oh my God, Father of the Year. God damn. Irene's parents had to step in and help their daughter both emotionally and financially. In 1943, a young inheritor of Hensley's teachings arrived in Tennessee and began conducting his own snake handling services. His name is Raymond Hayes. Hensley and Hayes started a church together in 1945 called Dolly Pond Church of God with Signs Following, near Knoxville, Tennessee. Yes, that was really the name. That's really the name. The whole thing.
At first I was expecting to hear Dolly Parton, and I was going to question why, but at the same time...
Hi, y'all! It's Dolly Parton.
That just would have been great.
I just love this church.
Especially in Knoxville.
I'm smiling because I can't do nothing else.
It was the snakes.
Look at my tits. You can put 3 fresh Bibles on them.
I have more implants in my hair than my chest.
God damn. So, yes, Dolly Pond Church of God with Signs Following. How did they fit that? People driving by like, did they not complete the sign? is there a second part of that? Oh my God. Later that year, a man was bitten by a snake and died.
So we just listened to the entire, like, what happened after the last dude died. That was it. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, so he started up and another dude got fucking, he got. That was that.
His death was believed to be ordained by God to test the congregation's faith. Hensley was later arrested for snake handling and given a $50 fine, which he refused to pay. He was later released after church members. I know, right?
Snakes don't kill him. What's prison gonna do? He already escaped.
Snakes don't kill people. Dumbasses who bring snakes into church buildings kill people.
He's like, you're gonna ask me. I'm friends with the guards.
He was later released after church members appealed to the authorities. Oh, of course. Fucking of course. In 1946, Hensley married his third wife, Inez Hutchinson, a widow of 10 children. He proposed to marry. He's going to be a good father, kids. I swear it.
So that brings his total of kids and stepchildren to 23?
23. He proposed marriage after she agreed to accept the doctrine of snake handling. They lived in Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. He had hoped to travel with her and have her read him Bible passages. Not content with this life, she left him after less than a year.
Why ask her to just read it to him instead of, hey, can you teach me how to read? Like,
He then
there's moonshine in play, but
he then married his fourth wife, Sally Norman, in 1951.
Go for the gold.
She agreed to travel with him to Tennessee, Florida, and Kentucky and read him passages from the Bible because, again, he's a preacher who is not literate. Still, hey, fuck it, why learn now?
He's already killed 2 people. He's on a roll.
He's killed more than that.
Well, yeah.
In June of 1955, Hensley went to Alta, Florida, where he would stay and do a series of sermons while holding snakes for weeks. The first 4 weeks went without incident. Then on July 24th, George decided to bring a 5-foot snake out during a sermon.
He got it from Florida.
Or maybe pink. Britney Spears. Who knows? Anyway, Hensley held it and loudly delivered a sermon on the topic of faith. He took the snake, wrapped it around his neck, and started rubbing it on his face. In addition to doing this, I like poking bears with sticks too. It's my favorite activity. After the sermon was done, he tried to put it back in the container of lard where it came from. It's a container of lard.
Put it back in the fat.
It's a container of lard.
We're gonna use those to make pies later.
Hey Jethro, I got me a 5-foot snake here. Do we have something to put in? How about this old discarded lard can? Okay. When he tried to put it back in the container, the snake bit him on the wrist. Finally, a hero in our story. After a few minutes, Hensley began experiencing severe abdominal pain. He had a discolored arm and began vomiting blood. So he's okay. He refused medical treatment and asked the congregation to pray for him instead. Yet somehow that didn't work. Imagine that.
In between the coughing of blood, he's probably just blaming his congregation. You didn't pray hard enough.
He
This
died.
is why I'm dying. He died.
Well, shit, I guess he's dead. He died early the next morning. Judge Hannah Gaskin ruled his death a suicide.
At least someone knows that if you handle a snake, it's your own damn fault if it bites you. Everyone else is just going up and, like, petting snakes, keeping in them baskets. Like, this dude is the only, like, thought that, yeah, it's your own damn fault, you're an idiot. Other than that kid.
Hensley's widow vowed to continue spreading this practice of snake handling. And of course, at his funeral, the congregation brought snakes with them. Why the fuck not, right? Over 60 years after Hensley's death, there are still snake handling churches in Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, and most commonly in West Virginia. West Virginia is the only state that does not outlaw snake handling services. This is due to a law in their state constitution barring any regulation of religious services. Most states in the Appalachian region either ban it or heavily regulate it. There are at least 2 churches in Alberta, Canada as well. Oh, you're bringing the snake in?
Oh, we never seen something like that. Oh, shit. It almost bit me. I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, I bet you, eh? Well, at least the hospital's free. Oh, we don't go to hospital. Okay. Recently, TV networks have spoken to a few congregations that are willing to go on camera. Most of them won't go on camera. It's kind of a religious cult. They'll bring in some outsiders. They'll go to some news media outlets, but mostly it's just towns that have been doing it for years and generations, and they get together and do it.
Secretly, I bet they're like a weird vampire that just doesn't want, like, if they all go on camera, they're not going to be there.
You know, I wonder, after the
Conspiracy.
snake handling, do they have the Eyes Wide Shut orgy after? It's the same club.
God damn it.
So we bringing out the mask later, or right now, or?
Let's get this going.
If a church member... Oh, okay. If a church member is bitten, they rarely seek medical attention and rely on prayer, speaking in tongues, and faith healing to combat the snake venom, which works great.
Oh, that's so much better than actual, like, anti-venom. Like,
Since 1931, 72 people have died from snake handling in the United States.
oh, really?
Yeah. And you'd think it'd be higher, actually. I was surprised by that.
Especially how everyone just wants to pet the fucking snake.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, he feels so good.
oh, don't pet him this way.
What's this little hole? Can I stick my finger in there? Nope, don't do that.
Oh shit, another person got bit.
In 2012, Mac Walford, the pastor of a snake handling church in Motoka, West Virginia, died hours after being bit by a rattlesnake. He initially refused medical treatment, then later decided to go to the hospital, but it was too late. Rattlesnakes bite.
Oh shit! No, wait.
Maybe. No. Rattlesnake bites, if treated quickly, are rarely fatal. Yep. The congregation brought snakes to Mac's funeral. Mac's father, who was himself a snake handling preacher, also died from a bite 30 years before. God.
My father never got bit.
My daddy would have been proud.
He was bit. I'll never be bit. I'm better than.
Oh my God.
Oh, Sharon, I got bit again.
In 2014, Jamie Coots, a third-generation snake-handling preacher from Middlesboro, Kentucky, was bitten by a rattlesnake during his service. He refused medical treatment and died hours later. Jamie was already missing one of his fingers from a previous bite in 1998.
They should have been on dirty jobs. Being an Episcopalian preacher.
Oh my God. No, Pentecostal.
Pentecostal, that's what Episcopalian.
Don't confuse those two. They'll get really mad. Snakes were also snakes were also present at his funeral. Apparently, prayer didn't help him either. Andrew Hamlin is a snake handling preacher at a church in La Follette, Tennessee. He's 22 years old and just had his 5th child. No wonder he's handling snakes. He wants sweet death.
He's on his way towards 10 right now. Soon he'll be 13.
Andrew's recently pregnant wife will also handle snakes during his sermons.
I don't want another. You handle the snake.
Andrew has been bitten 4 times. The first time nearly killed him. Andrew survived because he sought medical attention after the first bite. Well, one of them figured it out.
Someone figured out that it was a dangerous profession.
Andrew said if he dies, then that's just God's will. During the services, members of the church will routinely come up and volunteer to grab the snakes. They routinely shake the snakes like a tambourine. They speak in tongues, drop to the floor, shake wildly while dancing to the music.
When they drop to the floor, do they put down the snake first, or do they still drop with the snake?
No, they don't drop with the snake. They'll have the snake. I saw them do it. They'll put the snake on the side like it's a fucking tambourine. And they're playing "It's Your Birthday" by the Beatles. they got the tambourine. You say it's your birthday. Oh look, the rattlesnake's making a sound too. Okay. Other church members, while the service is going on, will also fill glass Coke bottles with lighter fluid, put paper in them, set them on fire, and burn themselves on the face and on the arms while the services are conducted.
Well, snake won't buy me fire, must not hurt me.
Some also drink snake poison.
Dude, that just sounds like they went on a really bad trip. Like they're on a bad trip from like the snake film.
Oh my god.
Just like trying to almost like chase the high.
Why? Why would people do this in the 21st century? It's like getting leeches.
I completely forgot it was in the 21st century. Now I feel even worse.
This is an interview from 2012.
Snakes are in the past. Snakes are dead. Now it's lighter fluid. Lighter fluid and Coke bottles. But also, we got this delicious snake venom shot that we do.
Oh, send them to the leper colony. They can all have a good time.
Lepers would be going, oh, these two are weird.
Oh my god. So what'd you think?
I was not disappointed. That was worth it. I once you started talking about snakes, I knew you were gonna go Pentecostal.
Yeah. And I've seen Pentecostal like services before, and they do
Yeah.
that shit, and I'm
I've
just.
seen them.
I went when I was a kid, and I was like, what is wrong with these people?
Yeah, I would have never gone. I would have been too scared. Like, I grew up around snakes. Like, you're taught not to fucking touch them. You see a snake, back up slowly. Don't go up and shake it.
Oh, they also the way they get snakes is
Stop.
some of them. So some of them are raised, and some of them they literally just go out into the hills of West Virginia and just grab them. Why not?
They're there for the picking. Let's just get them.
You gotta admit though, that takes a certain amount of balls. I don't think.
And skill.
Yeah, I think even a Navy SEAL's like, I'm not touching that fucking thing.
And you got these people like sniffing them out like truffles, like almost like truffle pigs. Like, it's over here under that rock.
We need it for Jesus.
Smells like death. Let's go grab it.
Anyway, yeah. So drink Sierra Nevada Torpedo Extra IPA, or if you're a hipster, Torpedo. Either way's good.
Torpedo.
All right. Goodbye. Me and Logan are signing off.